Most of us got into calisthenics because we were chasing after a particular goal. We wanted to learn a cool skill to impress our friends and, to be fair, even to impress ourselves. There's nothing wrong with that, I totally get that. But where we do hit a problem is when we take the same approach to creating our workouts. Instead of trying to build a well-rounded, sustainable, and effective workout routine, we actually is trying to see how can we train as hard and as specific for this one particular goal that we want to achieve. That's not effective, and it doesn't actually make any sense. Welcome to Hanses and the Rest. I'm your host, Coach Bachmann. You've guessed it already. Today's episode is going to be all around workout creation. We're going to see what are the steps that I take in order to create the perfect, effective, and well-rounded workout for you to achieve your skills, to make you stronger, and to make you feel better whilst doing all of this. We're going to see what are the exact steps that you have to take to achieve this workout. And then we're actually going to go through every single one of these steps with precise examples. We're going to do all of this whilst keeping exercise science in the back of our head. We want to make sure we do enough sets to maximize growth for the muscles that we're actually interested in, because we need those for our skill goals, whilst making sure we get sufficient amount of work on the other muscle groups to make sure we can at least maintain or possibly even grow a little bit there as well. Whilst doing all of this, we have to keep in mind that technical sets are not exactly working sets, so things are going to get a little bit difficult, but I promise to you, the outcome at the very end is going to be absolutely worth it. Before we can get started with all of this, we have to discuss one thing. Why is it so very important to have a workout routine, to actually know what you're doing every single time you get to the gym, to the calisthenics block, or to your living room, no matter where you're training? Having a workout routine is the only way that you're actually going to be able to monitor your progress. If you know what you did last time, you can know if what you're doing today is better or not as good. But if you kind of just train around every single day, you will never be able to actually monitor and see that you're getting better. You need to be able to see that you're getting better if you want to increase your workload a little bit every single workout. In other words, if you want to follow the principles of progressive overload, which is absolutely vital if you want to get stronger, then you need to monitor your progress. You need to know what you're doing every single time you get to the training. Consistency is also a big word here. If you know what you have to do, you're able to stay consistent. If every single workout, every single training, you can't just do whatever you feel like, you're never going to be consistent because you're going to start skipping things around. Picture this. Work was difficult. It's a rainy day. You're tired, you're simply not in the mood, you're going to get to the gym, you're going to do kind of just the things that you feel like doing. But if you know exactly what you have to do, if you have a precise plan, you can switch your brain off and simply work through it. On those days when you have to fire, you can do a little bit more. And on those days when you really don't feel like it, you can just simply get it done the way that you had planned it beforehand. Another reason why having a routine is so very important is that only a routine is going to allow you to actually be well-rounded. Right? You want to make sure that you train every muscle group throughout the week somewhat equally. But if you don't know what you're doing, how do you want to count how many sets per muscle group you're doing to make sure you get it right at the end of the week? Also, only if you know how many sets of what you're doing, you can adjust. Say, for example, you start training and halfway through your month of training, you start to realize that your triceps are getting really, really sore. So a logical solution would, of course, be to cut the triceps work a little bit and to work your triceps less hard with less sets or with less intensity. But if you have no idea how many sets of triceps you're doing, it's impossible to do less. If you don't know how much money you're spending throughout the week on groceries, you cannot cut your budget. You need to know what you're doing in order to be able to do less. But this goes the other way around as well. If you realize that your triceps is not getting sore anymore, or if you realize that you feel like you have a lot more energy than what you're actually giving at the gym, if you have a routine, if you know exactly what you're doing, you can dial it up a little bit and start doing more. Lastly, and this is, I think, a really, really important one. None of us are professional athletes. We all live a busy life. We have work, we have family. As long as you're not paid to do sports and you have nothing else to do in your life, you're not a professional athlete, which means you will get to the gym distracted. You'll be at the gym and think about what you're going to get your wife for Christmas. Or you're going to be at the gym thinking about how you're going to solve this problem at work or what you're going to cook for dinner. Having a routine is going to allow you to push through and to not having to think every single day when you get to the gym. If every day you sit down and you have to figure out what you're going to do at the gym today, you're going to lose a lot of time, you're going to lose a lot of energy, and again, on days when you're less motivated, your workout is not going to be good. When we now create our workout routine together, there are very precise steps that I want you to go through, or that I basically go through every single time when I create a workout for you. Step number 1 is being honest with yourself. Figure out what is important to you right now and how much time do you actually have available to spend on training. Step number 2 is figuring out what actually is a healthy workout. What goes into a well-balanced full body workout routine? Step number 3 is replacing exercises in that workout routine with goal-specific exercises in the same movement pattern. Step number 4 is adding general warm-up, specific warm-up, and of course technical work to your routine. Step number 5 is adding isolation work and finisher exercises into your routine. Step number 6, and this is an essential one, is going to be to stock up and to fill up any time that you have left on non-negotiable health exercises. And step number 7, the final step, is making sure that you have at least one unilateral exercise for every single workout. Now I know this sounds like a lot, but I promise to you, once we work through it with a precise example, this is all going to make so much sense. Step number 1 is figuring out what is important to you right now. I'm realizing that this particular step for many is already very difficult. You have to be honest with yourself while staying realistic. The first and biggest goal of every single athlete should always be to be as healthy as possible. You love to train, maybe you don't love to train, but you love to achieve things, you want to break records, you want to learn skills. You can only do this if you're healthy. As soon as your body starts to get tired, sick, or injured, you're not going to be able to push anymore. You can't keep your workouts consistent, and instead of just taking a little break, you're actually going to take a couple steps back. So staying healthy must always be the biggest goal. Goal number 2 is going to be your skill goal. For this particular example, we're going to say that we want to learn the handstand push-up and we want to learn a front lever hold. So we have a bend arm pushing skill and a straight arm pulling skill. Lastly, the question is, how much time do you realistically have available for training? And when I say realistically, I really mean be honest with yourself. There's no point of creating a workout routine that looks good on paper, but it's completely impossible with your current lifestyle. It's better to realize you have more time so you can add things to your routine than realizing that you don't have enough time and you rush through every single workout. It's not going to make sense, it's not going to be sustainable, and you're not going to have any fun with it. Step number 2 is deciding on what is a healthy full body workout routine. The way that I like to see is that you want to work your entire body. So we're going to look at the anatomical movements that our body does. We need to do sets for every single movement or for every single muscle group, since to a big extent that's going to be the same thing. We have horizontal pull, vertical pull, horizontal push, vertical push, and of course we have leg work. Very big picture, that's going to be all you have to worry about for now. Then we look at how many sets do we have to do for every single muscle group throughout the week. Now, lucky for us, plenty of studies have been done on this. We know that what is important when it comes to strength training is hard working sets. A hard working set is a set that you almost take till failure. Say, for example, we're doing pull-ups. If you can do 27 pull-ups and you do 25, that's a hard working set. If you can do 27 pull-ups and you do 12, that is not a hard working set. Looking at dips, for example, if you can do 7 weighted dips and you do 6, that is a hard working set. If you do 3, that is not a hard working set. Any set close to failure is considered a hard working set. One thing we have to keep in mind straight away when it comes to calisthenics is that taking a set to failure often is not quite as simple, because balance and technical failure does play into account. So we have to keep that in mind later when we're creating our entire workout routine. Now we know that for hypertrophy, the actual rep count is not quite as important, as long as it's a hard working set. You're going to build volume no matter intensity. But when it comes to strength building, your rep count per set is much more important. You want to keep your rep count low in order to build lots of strength. We know that in order to maintain muscle mass and strength, we need to hit each muscle group at least 3 times per week. If you want to build strength, you want to do around 7 hard working sets per muscle group per week. And if you want to maximize your strength gains, you're going to do 10 to 12 sets per muscle group per week. Now, important to say here is that anything more than 10 or 12 sets per week is considered junk volume. Those are sets that are not really going to help you build additional muscle. And that's kind of just sets that you're doing for no very good reason. Again, important to remember here is that technical sets are specific for calisthenics training, and they would not count towards those 10 to 12 hard working sets. Now, all of this info that we have right now, our goal, time available, and the knowledge of how many working sets we have to do per week, we can already figure out which kind of workout split we want to do. If you don't know what a workout split is, that's not a problem. It basically means that you take all of this volume, the bulk of exercises that you have to do throughout the week, and you split them into separate workouts. Because if we know that we have to do 12 working sets for a vertical pull every single week, we know that we cannot do 12 hard working sets in one workout, because 3, 4, or 6 sets in, you're going to get tired and you're basically going to perform less good. By spreading these sets out over multiple workouts, you're going to be able to keep intensity high and with this grow significantly more. If you want to learn more about how to get strong with calisthenics or about how to split your workouts throughout the week, then have a look at my 2 other podcast episodes right here on my YouTube channel. Most of the time, you're going to default to using either a push-pull leg split or an upper and lower body split. For today's example, we're going to use the upper-lower split and we're actually going to focus on the upper body workout. Now that we know what kind of a workout we're creating, we can pick a template and get to work. For this particular upper body workout, we want to put a vertical pull, a vertical push, a horizontal pull, and a horizontal push, possibly isolation work and core towards the end. We are basically training every single anatomical direction that's related towards your upper body, and we're going to be doing this workout or variation of this workout 3 times this week. Now that we know what are the main working sets of our workout, we can take our goal-specific calisthenics exercises and fit them in there. The goal is going to be to take exercises that are challenging, yet easy enough that we can do them clean, and that are the most effective exercises that we can possibly find. We want to train as little as possible, so every single set that we do must be extremely valuable towards our overall goals. Starting off, we have the vertical push. Now, a fitness example from the gym would be a military press or really any kind of a shoulder press, pushing overhead. For our particular goal example here, it's a very simple one. This is going to be our handstand push-up progression. This can be a pike push-up, this can be a back-to-wall handstand push-up, or even a freestanding handstand push-up. Next up, we have the vertical pull. That would be the lat pull down, or in our example here, it's going to be a wide pull-up, weighted chin-up, anything similar to this. We have the horizontal push, which from the gym would be, for example, the bench press. In our example, that's going to be the push-up, planche push-up, or the dip. And last but not least, we have the horizontal pull, which from the gym would be, for example, a back row, a cable back row, a bent over back row, or here in our example, the front lever row, or the static front lever hold. Now that we know which exercises we're going to do for these main movement patterns, we need to now put them in order so it makes sense in regards of our goal. You first want to do the ones that help the most towards your actual goal. Our actual goal we said was the handstand push-up and the front lever hold. So we're going to start with our handstand push-up work, which is vertical push. And from there, we're going to go into horizontal pull, the front lever work. And then we can fit the other exercises as we see fit. We can, for example, do our horizontal push, weighted dips, push-ups, finishing with vertical pull, the weighted wide pull-ups. Next up, and it's here really where your workout is going to get goal-specific and turn from a simple strength-building workout to your dream workout to get your dream skills, we add warm-up, specific warm-up, and technical work into the routine. Every single workout has to start with a general warm-up. You have to break a sweat. You want to signal to your body and your brain that it's game time, that we start training. Bit of the elliptical, jogging, rope skipping, anything will work. For me personally, I run to the gym, spend some time outside, and I'm warm by the time I get to the gym, so really I just save time. From here, we're going to go into specific warm-up and technical training for our first skill goal. Remember, the first goal on the list is the handstand push-up. So we're going to start with some injury prevention work for the shoulders, possibly for the wrists in case you're training on the floor. And then we're going to go into technical training. Now, technical training for the handstand push-up is going to be a handstand training. And so it's very convenient that we did actually put the handstand push-up at first, because if you would start with, say, weighted dips, and you would go from there into your handstand training, you would have a very difficult time. But like this, right at the beginning of your workout, when you're fresh, when you're recovered, and when your general nervous system is really fired up, you can do your technical handstand training, which to some extent technically is going to be the hardest thing of your workout. And then you straight away go into your handstand push-up work, you have the most energy, and you're going to get your 4 hard working sets in right here. Now, I know what you're thinking. 4 hard working sets for the handstand push-up, is that really enough for me to get better? Because there's so many different progressions that I could be doing. Remember we said earlier, anything more than 10 to 12 working sets per week would be considered junk volume. If we are doing 3 workouts per week, 4 sets, 4 hard working sets, are going to be enough for you to really maximize your gains. Keep in mind that you want to choose a progression where you can at least do 3 reps. And if balance is part of this equation and you fall out because you lost balance, that would not be considered a hard working set because you weren't able to push your muscles as much as you can. From here, you have 2 choices. You can either finish your other pushing work because you're already pushing and maybe with the setup of your gym that's more convenient, or, and that's what I would recommend, you're going to go straight away in your front lever training. You're going to basically do your pulling warm-up, scapular pull-ups, some lat activation work, possibly some skin the cats, really depending on the level that you're currently at. We're going to go straight away into our 3 to 4 hard working sets for the front lever. Remember we were saying those are going to be the front lever rows. They could be band assisted. Those could just be slow negatives from touch. Or you could also consider to just do your front lever holds. This is going to depend on your current training cycle. Now, the advantage of doing this straight away after your handstand push-ups is that you're still fairly early in your training, and with this, you're still fairly fresh. Your general nervous system is still ready to really attack. Now, after your handstand push-up and your front level work, we're only some technical training and 8 hard working sets into the workout, but this is going to take a significant amount of time because you did spend some time on the technical training. The advantage is that at this point, we only have theoretically 8 hard working sets left. We're going to go and do our 4 sets of dips or push-ups, and we're going to do our 4 sets of wide pull-ups. And with this, the main part of your training is already done. Next up, we have to add isolation work into the training. This is most of the time going to be stuff that you're basically lacking. If you work on the front lever, chances are high you're going to have to work on your scapular retraction more. If you work on your handstand push-up or on your planche, scapular protraction, elevation is going to be key. Now, there is an argument to be made that we're going to put this at the beginning of a workout into the technical part of the training. But if you put your isolation work there, it's going to be more of an activation work. Like I said earlier, we should do for the lats before doing the front lever, because it's very difficult to really get that mind-muscle connection right for the lats. If you figure out how to engage your lats, your front lever is going to be much, much easier. But this isolation work now is going to be really to get stronger. So you cannot do it before your main technical or your main working sets, because if you burn out those small retraction and protraction muscles before you even get training, I can already tell you for your hard working sets, those muscles are already tired and you can't give it all you have. But by putting this at the end of your training, kind of already a little bit like a finisher, we can really work on those weak spots that we're still missing. Talking about finishers, adding a finisher at the end of your workout can also be a really great way to maximize strength gains and to basically just maximize your growth in general. Taking the example of the handstand push-up, but really of all calisthenics exercises in general, it is very difficult to achieve physical strength failure with bodyweight exercises because there's such a big technical component to it. The handstand push-up even has a balance component to it. So adding a finisher set where you basically start a progression that you're fairly comfortable with and you work your way down the ladder of progressions until you're completely burned out can be a really great way to finish your training off at the end of the week. Now, yes, this doesn't really work well with our 10 to 12 hard working sets per week, but remember, we did say because it is bodyweight training, it's not always possible to really consider every single working set that we do a hard working set. A finisher that I absolutely love for the handstand push-up could, for example, be chest to wall handstand push-ups, L handstand push-ups into a weighted shoulder press. For the front lever, you could, for example, do front lever row into a front lever hold, or simply a band assisted front lever hold for a max hold for as long as you can, 3 sets in a row with 20 seconds rest in between is really going to help you break through plateaus. Lastly, we are going to have, let's call them vein finishers or vein isolation work, basically working on the muscles that you want to grow because you want to look good at the beach. And I obviously support that plan. Couple things to keep in mind here. With the workout that we're currently putting together, you might want to invest into biceps curls because we're not training our biceps very much for this workout. You could also do triceps extensions, but because you have the front lever and the handstand push-up work, your triceps is actually already well fed. What you don't want to do is your anterior deltoid. Don't overtrain anterior deltoids with isolation work because your handstand push-up, your planche, your dips, everything is already touching the anterior deltoid. If you're training your anterior deltoid with isolation work on top of that, chances are high, well, number one, that this is just not going to have any effect. You're basically wasting your time and energy. But number two, you could basically push your body a little bit too much and you're going to end up getting a bit of an overuse injury. So I would just forget the anterior deltoid when it comes to isolation work and just focus on things such as your core, your abs, your lateral deltoid, your biceps, maybe your chest, those kind of things. Now at this point, we have a pretty strong workout routine. We have our general warm-up, specific warm-up, technical training, hard working sets for the handstand push-up, technical training for the front lever, hard working set for the front lever. We have our weighted dips, we have our weighted wide pull-ups, we have our finishers for retraction, for scapular protraction, and we might even have some biceps curls because we want to look good. This next step could also actually be the very first step because it is the most important step that you have. If you know your workout can last 9 minutes, and at this point you've only used, say, 80 of this, these last 10 minutes, you're going to fill up with the essential, non-negotiable health exercises. What do I mean with this? If you're working on one-arm chin-ups or weighted pull-ups, and you look through the web, you're going to see that every single person on Reddit struggles with tennis elbows. So instead of training and thinking that you're better than everybody else and it's not going to happen to you, you're going to be pre-active about this. And you're going to start working on your grip strength straight away, as that can help prevent elbow pain. You also know that if you were doing a lot of shoulder pushing work, dips, planches, handstand push-ups, shoulder impingement could theoretically also be one of your problems. So you're going to add additional external rotation work into your routine. In general, if you know you're going to be doing a lot of pushing because you're planning on breaking the record of the heaviest dip or whatever you want to do, horizontal pulling, horizontal narrow pulling, you're going to add additional to your routine. You say you're already doing your 4 hard working sets of front lever rows. Great. Let's add in some cable rows, some bend over rows. If you know that you're doing a lot of a very particular thing, find the opposite to this and just add a little bit more of that into your routine. This moment is also going to be great to add wide pulling for your back, high pulls, face pulls, all of these kind of things. Lastly, of course, at this point, it's also going to be a good idea to add additional core stability work. Now, I know if you're training handstands, you're training front levels, you have a lot of core work in there already, but what you want to be training is your deep stability core. It's your very deep core muscles that stabilize your body. I'm talking about one-arm planks, bird dog, deep constant pressure chair on the back, all of those kind of things that are simply going to be good for your core and for spine health. Put them in there. They might help for your training, but they will absolutely help for your everyday health. The last and final step is making sure that we have at least one unilateral exercise per workout. Unilateral exercise means that instead of working with 2 arms at the same time, we're just working with 1 arm. For example, a 1-arm chin-up would be a unilateral exercise, but that one is very difficult, so let's forget about that. The advantages of these unilateral exercises are that, number 1, we all have one side of the body that's stronger. If you're always working with both arms at the same time, you might not figure out which side is weaker, because the stronger side is always going to work a little bit harder so the other side can basically relax. That's how our brain works, that's how our entire body works, and it's absolutely fascinating. But by working only one side of your body at a time, you're going to realize on this side I can do 12 reps, and on this side I can only do 10 reps. Now, on the side where you can do 10 reps, you don't have to do additional work there. But by actually just doing 10 reps on this side, by only on this side, you're going to train this side and you're not going to let the other side help this weaker side constantly. Another reason why these unilateral exercises are so great is because they're really going to challenge your core once again. If you do an exercise only with one side of your body, your core has to engage to keep your body stable and to prevent your body from rotating out of the exercise. And last but not least, training unilateral exercises is going to be a great way for you to break through plateaus. If you stop growing using both arms at the same time, performing the exercise only on one side is going to be a shock to the body. It's going to be a new surprise. And with this, you're going to get a new growth stimuli in the body and you're going to be able to promote growth once again. Examples for unilateral bodyweight exercises is going to be the archer back row, assisted one-arm push-ups, handstand walking, or lunges. And there you have it, the blueprint to create your perfect calisthenics workout, to make sure you get a well-rounded and efficient routine that is goal-specific. It's going to help you advance towards the skills that you want to learn. Options from here are going to be to take this upper body workout and to divide it into a push and a pull training session. They can have advantages because in each of these sessions, you're going to be able to fit more goal-specific sets and more goal-specific technical training. Say, for example, besides the handstand push-up, you actually also try to learn a one-arm handstand, or you want to improve your handstands in general, doing this entire technical block plus the entire conditioning training afterwards for push and for pull might just be a little bit too much for one workout. So dividing it here into 2 workouts might be a good idea. But that also means that you're either going to get less frequency because you're only going to do 2 times each workout per week, or you continue to do 3 workouts of each of these blocks per week, but then you have to go to the gym 6 times a week, plus you need to recover, plus you should really train some legs. So there are upsides and downsides to dividing this into multiple workouts. If you want to learn more about that, definitely go and check out my podcast episode about training splits. Lastly, another fun thing that you can do is rotating the additional exercises that you have in your workout throughout the week. So let's say you get 3 workouts per week and your horizontal pushing, you know it's important to you for strength development and just basically stay well balanced, but you're not as passionate about it because it's not your exact goal right now. That means you could do on Monday, for example, dips. On Wednesday, you're going to do assisted planche push-ups. And on Friday, you do bench press, for example. Those additional exercises, you can absolutely rotate. The main exercises that you're going to need in order to develop your skill, There is ways to rotate them as well, but you want to keep them consistent because those are really the ones that you're measuring to see if you're actually growing and if you are getting stronger. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you had a good time and I hope you learned whatever you needed to learn in order to create the perfect workout for you. If you have any questions, please head down below and let me know in the comments. Also, let me know what other questions do you have about calisthenics training and what do you think we should discuss next. If you want to learn more about this, then have a look at my other calisthenics podcast episodes right here. How to get strong using calisthenics exercises, how muscle is built, how many sets per week you should do and why. All of those things in much more detail right here. And of course, as said earlier, the calisthenics split podcast, understanding what are different training splits, what are the advantages, disadvantages, and really what you can gain and how you can maximize your training efforts to grow faster, to stay healthier, and to have fun. Until next time, get to work.